Hello, my name is Julien Ferzing. Welcome back to another episode of BI Talks. BI Talks is like a series of podcasts dedicated to the real estate markets with the different actors, architects, engineers, real estate professionals. We look for this first series at the current trend of the market. And today we have Tomasz Węglarz, the shareholders and directors of sales at Biuro Namiary. Biuro Namiary is a company acting on the territory of Poland, helping companies find the best office. Today we will explore mostly about the office market in Poland, what is like currently trending, what are the new market opportunities post-COVID era. Following the pandemic, and we will also look what's the impact of technology in this market. Tomasz, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me today, and I am very grateful to sit on your beautiful couch after 4 years when we first met, right?
Exactly.
And we leased you this office together. It was like pretty bumpy road for two of us. I remember our tough negotiations with the landlord, but we managed and now we are here.
And here we are. Great. Tomasz, firstly, Biuro Namiary, if you could introduce like even the concept, because if my Polish is good, is tailor-made office, yes?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe if you want to just share a bit also what's your role and what's the company right now?
First of all, it's really great that you prepared yourself that Biuro Namiary, it really means tailor-made offices. We find it very clear for us that if you need a proper office, you should pick one which suits you the best, as a great suit, for instance. Biuro Namiary was created, developed, set up by two of my closest friends and even family more than 5 years ago, almost six will be in December this year, by my brother Jerzy Węglarz and my close friend Michael Nisengold. They've met together, they did a small brainstorming, and they put it in life. After a few months, we had I was invited for this project, and we found a middle ground, and we started at March 2016. Yes, March 2016. I joined Biuro Namiary, and it all started. We started from scratch. So we had nothing. Zero commercial buildings, 0 people, 0 clients, only a great idea and mind full of ideas and potential, which was only in 3 of us when it all started. After first year, we were pretty well known around Warsaw. After 3 years, we set up another company under the Biuro Namiary flag, which is still dealing in sector of leasing offices for every size of the company around Warsaw. So I mean other major regional cities, and we are doing pretty well on this moment because we are available. You can find us living people in those cities, for instance, 3 cities: Wrocław, Kraków, Rzeszów, Lublin. You can meet our brokers there, and you will get the same service as you can get here in Warsaw.
You have probably seen a lot of office during those 5 years, yes, together. Any office which mark you personally? What's the most beautiful place that you have been, the most beautiful office to you personally?
This is really tough one because after all of those years, I saw plenty of offices, and I would like put it into categories. First of all, I love skyline view. So every office above 20, 30 floor makes me like very sensitive, and I got good skin as well. So skyline view and city view, and even if you see other things as in forest, mountains, or sea view closer to in Tree City, it's really cool. So each office, top floors. The last month I visited the 5th floor in Rondo ONZ, Rondo 1, beautiful view, full panoramic, PKIN, Pałac Kultury i Nauki, Złota 44, Interconti. You see, like, people, cars are like small ants, but it really drives me to be in more and more office buildings on higher levels. Then, a second category, I would say, of the beautiful offices, those are plant-friendly offices, such as your office, because I prefer offices where I come to feel like at my own home. I am a plant lover, I am a biophilic type of guy, so I completely admire office where I see plants and variety of them. So more exotical, more beautiful for me. This is my approach. And the third category is office built by people. But built by people, I mean more the atmosphere inside the office, because the managers, the directors, the people around there, they are bringing the energy to the office, their ideas, their potential, their sophistication, or even sometimes bad mood. It all gives a rainbow of I don't know, of a success, I suppose, because at the end of the rainbow there is always some kind of stash of treasure. It same goes to the office. The treasure is in the potential of people, and they are building offices. So the offices should be made for workers to extend their potentials. And I am more a fan of, building up a team, having great people around me, rather than super fancy office.
Okay, so a potential perfect place for you would be to build a jungle on top of Burj Khalifa.
Whoa!
With your team, yes?
35th floor at Rondo 1 with like plants in every corner would be perfect. But if I should pick one, I would pick your office. And I am telling you why. Because maybe you are not top floor office, because we are at first floor, but in a pretty great location though. 3 minutes walking distance to Metro Świętokrzyska. So we can say it's strict city center, heart of the city. We have plants in every corner. So and you have great team, because we are collaborating together with Dominika. Dominika is a great person. Kamila, your entire team, Martina. Like, you are building this office with a potential of people, with plants, with location, sophistication, design. Like, when I compare this office at the beginning, when we came here, it was almost ready to move in, or it was ready to move in my opinion, but in your very sophisticated opinion, it wasn't, because it didn't have this Swiss touch of prestige and of the design approach.
In the process, like, also that's when making those office, yes, during those 5 years of development, there is also new tech which arrived on the market. And I wonder if you have already worked with BIM technology, which is, like, for example, something that we use at Swiss Building Intelligence. Have you already used BIM in the space planning, and what would be the impact if you have seen some project like that?
Oh, yes. When we've met 2 years ago, before pandemic, like coronavirus. You showed me BIMX, right? When you were designing your office with those small touches, with the furniture, etc. And when I first saw space plan, and then you like 2D space plan, and then you showed me 3D model just with one click, it transformed in one click, I was like shocked. And this was the time, the situation which shows me, yes, this is the approach that Biuro Namiary needs to have as well. We need to be high-tech company in real estate sector and provide our customers with high-tech solutions. So, answering your question, yes, I am dealing with BIM almost every week or almost every few days, because we collaborate and you are showing us the solutions that are perfectly suited, matched to the needs of our clients. And I don't need to tell you how big added value this is. And we, as Biuro Namiary, want to have it as our standard for every client above some level, because you will not do magic around 30 or 50 square meters because it's only one room. But you can plan it very wisely with the furniture, of course. It's more a job of furniture companies, for instance. But if you have 1,000, even 700 square meters, where the departments of each company should collaborate, you need to even do the IT cabling to see how the building looks like from the skeleton point of view, like what is the fundament of the building. And this should be also a standard on this moment for every single new investment coming on the real, commercial real estate market. Not even commercial. If you are developing a residential building with 300 apartments, there is no go to put everything on the paper and not having it in a digital way.
You are a company which is like your name is saying, yes, tailor-made. I'm wondering, what do you think about algorithmic design? Because once you came to me and said, Julian, look, this algorithm is making space planning alone. And I was like, what? And then we just explored that. But I'm curious, between tailor-made and automation and algorithmic design, what's your take? What's the sweet spot between those two?
First of all, automatization of space plans should happen right now, because currently on the market there are some trial versions, there are some international tools that you can use, but they are not completely compatible with Polish regulations. This is the weak spot of automatization, because filling up making those algorithms for one building will not go or work in another building. So automatizing this entire group of projects will be very hard. Or maybe it's already on the market and I don't know about it. So minus for me, let's say. But if somebody would give me this kind of tool, I would use it every day, because we see that the only weak spot between automatization and, let's say, people workforce in preparing space plan is time. This is the main weak spot. We are overloaded with work. Architects are overloaded. They have too many projects and they are making mistakes. But on the other hand, if you have so many Polish regulations for first floor and 30th floor, there should be different regulations, and you should like maybe just by putting basic information, you would be sure that it will be prepared due to the client's needs. But what if not? What if the machine will also fail and prepare something completely out of somebody's mind, that why this department is at the end of the floor plan as it should be at just nearby the entrance, right? So too many details to put as an information for the machine to not make a mistake while processing the idea.
You mentioned also that the architects, the different stakeholders of the project are fully loaded right now of project. Yes. So is it because of the pandemic? What was the impact of the COVID-19 on the market in Poland?
More square meters on the market, more work for architects, for sure, right? This is the first thing. Second of all, after coronavirus, it all changed in a way that tenants started to rethink their offices. It means, at one hand, the size of their offices and the, let's say, useful aspect. So what we can squeeze from the size and the even accessibility for our employees, how we can connect or separate open spaces, how we can make the conference room as video conference room, how we can split conference rooms by half and make it two smaller, because we are more digitalized right now. We do more video conferences rather than traditional meetings. How we can rethink our kitchens, how we move people around offices. Even now, there are even apps that are showing you the road of the employee if he wants to use the conference room, and in what direction he needs to go when he ends up his meeting. So imagine you are ending a pretty important video conference with the president of the board, and while exiting the conference room, you got an alert. Now turn left, not right. You are going in the bad direction.
That sounds like we are robots, because it doesn't seem positive to me, to have something like that.
We'll see after 3 years how the vaccination will work. But no, of course, I'm just joking. Yes, it all comes to the point that we are using more and more technology in on our daily basis, because that's a fact. But if I would of course, while having 3,000 square meters with 7 open spaces, 25 smaller cabinets, or 10 conference rooms, it may be useful for people to have a map or how to travel inside your office. You can use as well food delivery to the office, because while the restaurants were closed, people had only one solution: food delivery to the office. And when I spoke with some of the fit-out companies, they even had have an idea to make from the office space a restaurant to have a place to meet with your clients. So they were reorganizing space, destroying walls, opening kitchens, putting few more tables, and organizing a restaurant space for internal meetings with clients during the pandemic. Didn't work
at all. Fear?
It was one case I heard, didn't work.
Okay. How about the healthy aspect also of our office and also the energetical aspect with all the different labels which exist on the markets, LEED, BREEAM, WELL. What was the impact on the market during the pandemic? Like, is it a big reset? Because it sounds like when I hear you that we just took a white paper and started to replan, rethink our offices.
When you said it out loud, yeah, I think it was a reset. Landlords did a great, amazing job during the pandemic time. They invested hundreds, thousands of PLNs, or probably even millions. For new investments, is for sure millions, because, like, of course, hygienic gels, which I hate, but of course I'm using them. Those virus-proof the shields, glass or plastic, ultraviolet lamps killing viruses inside the ventilation systems. Touch-free elevator opening, thermal control, antivirus filters for ventilation systems. It costs like enormous money, and they needed to invest it from their yearly budgets, which were like even covered for, let's say, snow plumbing, or for I don't know, the facade cleaning. They needed to invest lots and monies. Thank God that the public regulations, the civil regulations, only were focusing mostly on the shopping mall tenants, no office tenants, because landlords provided everything for the employees of the companies to use the office spaces safely. And that's a fact. Companies spend also like bags of dollars for the safety of their workers, to invite them, to re-invite them after reset to the offices. And we are still in process of the invitation. Response, s'il vous plaît, dear employee. And he's not replying from, let's say, beginning of this year. Landlords, great job for last 1.5 years. Big congrats. Invested millions. I think it will be consumed by the tenants in next months, because few of my colleagues from your real estate sector tells that the big wave of employees coming back to the office will be around September and October this year. That we will see a big amount of people coming back to the offices.
You mentioned that people are coming back to the office. What is the future of the office? Because a lot of company try this remote work, not only home office, but this remote work. What is the office in 5 years' time? How will look like our offices?
More offices.
Good news.
Good news. More offices will come for sure. Hybrid type of work will be. It's not a big news, because when I speak with my other clients or with other companies, they were using this kind of solution for last 10 years. So you don't need to spend entire 8 hours or 10 hours or how many hours you like in the office. You can also use your own home space. But if you have like convenient space to work from your apartment, for instance, or from your house, that is the main question. Because hybrid type of work works for everybody. It just all comes to the point if I am more an office type of guy, or if I am more a house type of guy. And to be honest, I am not afraid of the future of the offices at all, because the office is a sanctuary of information. It's a sanctuary where the people talk, flirt, socialize, eat together. They are like children in the kindergarten, but grow up for sure. But they are still developing their soft skills. While only spending time in home and staying digitalized, staying in the internet for an entire day, they lose their personality. And if you want to explore your potential, you need to be a social animal. And coming to the office, spending time with your colleagues, exchanging thoughts, ideas, political, religious, everything, gives you a lot of knowledge and experience. So answering, not afraid at all about the future of the offices. They are very healthy because lots of the tenants, of course, they cut some spaces by some square meters. In those hardcore situations, they even quit the offices, and I mean from 1,500 square meters to 0, to moving everybody to home office, up to the to reduction around 30% of square meters. So, and it will be filled by any other company that is growing, because those, for instance, international companies that are coming to Poland, they're setting up and they need office space. Public institutions, they are moving from older buildings to our newer buildings, so they are also absorbing. Smaller SMEs, for instance, they are staying in tenement houses or in old houses. And I see a trend, because I spoke a lot recently with my other colleagues from residential sector, that they see that the landlords, they're kicking out companies and they are coming back to the residential lease. So that is also a small step of change, a wave of tenants that can also come to the market.
True.
And they will absorb commercial office space. Because you can be a freelancer, a single freelancer who needs a sophisticated, prestigious office space for one person, and you will find it in an office skyscraper, for instance. And you can be an 300 employee strong international branch, and you will also find an office space in every city in Poland.
So huge diversity, yes. Right now, which was maybe not the case in the past, and this kind of model allowed to have like an office for everybody, because usually office were more for an established company. A single person, as you mentioned, didn't have an office. But right now, with all this co-working and so on, it's starting to be trending.
Yes. Glad you mentioned it, because for the last 20 years, commercial market changed dramatically. We changed the currency, because before we had dollars, we were leasing office spaces in dollars. Then we transformed to euros, because most of the credit, the fundings comes from banks, and the fundings came in euro. And the rents are also mostly in euro, but there are also still some private owners that still lease in PLNs. So yes, every type of the company can now rent a proper office space in commercial sector. And by commercial sector, I mean Class A buildings, B, C, whatever you classify them, in old tenement office buildings, but they are mostly renovated, in a big mixed-use complex as well. You can rent, you can buy commercial space, and you can work due to the BHP regulations or safety regulations.
There is also a lot of international companies which are coming to the Polish market. What is attracting them?
Two things. People, workforce. We are still cheaper than the same specialist in other country, for sure. But on the other hand, we are very, very well qualified. We have like hell of a specialists in every sector. There are like, I would say 10% in each sector, those are talents. We love talents. And the 50-60% are good specialists, and they are worth of the money that we are paying them. And the rest are still aware, and you can pick them as your employee, and they will do a proper job. So workforce in Poland is well qualified, and the second of all, rents.
Mm-hmm.
We have maybe, 30 euros, there are rents right now in the top skyscrapers in Warsaw. 25, yes, of course, regular, but high still. For most of the Polish company, it's high.
Yeah.
But sometimes even if you have a small square meter size of the office, for instance 300, you can afford 25 euros because it's worth it. Mm-hmm. It's your business card. The office sometimes, as for your company, it has also the advantage of being a business card, because 50% of those offices around there don't have this opportunity, because companies don't have such funds to pay 25 euros for the square meter of their office space. Mm-hmm. So they prefer to stay low profile, but still in a high quality. Landlords are giving incentives, fit-out contributions, rent-free periods. They are investing millions, hundreds of thousands to attract tenants to lease office space in their buildings. And this is a solution for all of the SMEs around Poland. We are collaborating together with one of our clients from the financial investment sector. They are leasing serviced office right now for around 20,000 per month, and we found them 200 square meters for 15 people large company for the same amount. But they can fill much more working stations in the conventional office space. And now they needed to make a, let's say, level up, because they need a business card. And if you need a business card, you are not choosing serviced office or co-working space, because you are a part of society. That can work at the very beginning if you are setting up. But if you need the individuality, and if you need to have a satellite in Poland here, you are using the conventional office space. So that's why international companies have their eyes on Poland, because we are still, we have lower rents than, for instance, in other cities in Europe, UK, for instance, Germany, France, or Italy.
And currently in Warsaw, if my research are correct, there is almost like 800,000 square meter of office under construction. What is the type of office that is currently on construction? So
we need to be aware that I categorize offices in two groups. Mm-hmm. First group is conventional office space, and we have plenty of it around Warsaw. And we have the second category, those are all-inclusive offices, we call it, biura all-inclusive, because in this I mean serviced office, co-working space, flexible space, however you will call it. You get one invoice and you have everything included in the rent price. But I categorize those kind of offices. So from the smaller aspect, so service office or all-inclusive offices, there are let's say 20% part of the entire building, and they need an operator. And now operator can he has few scenarios that can fill. He can rent, he can manage, and he can find a franchisor. Mm-hmm. So this sector is also evolving, because the operators see that it's not the perfect red thing, like it's not a perfect financial solution as they thought 3 or 4 years ago before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But the service office operators were a big winner because they are giving you a flexible solution. You can grow, you can shrink, you can end up your lease in 6 months, not in 3 years and 2 million penalty in conventional office space or even higher. And they did a great job, I think, from the commercialized point of view.
Yeah.
They fill up some space, they lost some of the clients, but mostly they were okay. What goes for the landlords, office landlords, the tenants didn't had this a big field of movement because they have closed contracts. If you signed for 5 years lease, you stay 5 years. If you will cancel the contract, you will get a penalty that will kill your ass for sure. On the other hand, mostly yes, under construction there are high-end offices mostly right now. But what we can see as well, there are some mixed-use projects which are very sexy right now, very hot. For instance, Cavatina in Katowice, Echo Investment, they have plenty of mixed uses right now going on. They are planning Towarowa, Moje Miejsce in Mokotów. So this kind of mixed use will be sexy for next years, for a few next years. And high-end skyscrapers everywhere where you can find ground and the prices of ground, not only commercial grounds, but even those recreational, closer to Mazury, Bory Tucholskie, or everywhere else where there is a small lake or water. The prices are enormous. They rise hundreds of percent right now. So if you have a ground, you build everything which brings profits.
Okay.
And now everything brings profits.
I would like to ask you also a bit more the tech side of your work. What's hot in tech right now for you in your market?
3D space planning. First time you show me that, I am horny as hell on this topic, I would say. The faces of clients when they see when the transformation of 2D space plan to 3D, deal done. I see the faces, and now they can imagine how their office can look like.
Yeah.
Because if you are dealing with shell and core office on 30 floor or even on a second floor, and there is only concrete glass, some kind of cabling, where do you see those glass walls or carpets? Or great audiovisuals systems that will be in next 6 months? You are buying a concrete, or no, you are buying opportunity of having this kind of offices. And now you need to trust landlord, broker, architect, fit-out company, furniture company, that they will provide you with the great service. And what helps us to make this chain locked is the tech mostly, because video conferences, it saves time, not driving for, let's say, small priority meetings. You are not riding 30 minutes one way, 30 minutes backwards, or 1 hour because there are rush hours. You are saving time, so you can move this time to another client, your focus. So video conferences, space, 3D space planning. We are using HTMLs. So our offers, we are in different way. If we want to send a proposals to our clients, we use like internal CRM, but they are generating us a link, like interactive link, not PDF. And we are sending it to the client where he can easily find a map of what he got, contact details. He sees the person who is dealing with their transactions or process, and he can find detailed information about every office that he wanted to see or we are proposing him, with possibility of scrolling the pictures in real time. Of course, it's mobile friendly, web friendly, Mac friendly, whatever, iPad, tablets, etc.
How about the VR aspect? Because you mentioned about all this, I see this online interactivity and so on, allowing the people to have linked interaction with you. But what about virtual visits and also the full immersion with VR?
I was thinking about this aspect, to be honest, like 1 year ago, no, 1.5, CitySpace had this virtual tour of their office at Beethovena, and I was using it to see how the other phases will look like.
Yeah.
And I thought then, okay, it's useful tool if you cannot visit the office. Then the pandemic time came in, kicks in. We did, I don't know, 2-3 virtual tours, 2-3 no deals.
Okay, that's
so
surprising.
From this office point of view, using VR, it can help to get an understanding of an office, but I remind you that leasing 500 square meters is a long-term obligation, is a big security payment, is a big penalty. So question is, if I want to trust virtual reality to lease an office, or I will go there and see by myself, touch it, as an, say, St. Thomas. First he needs to touch and then he knows.
Yeah.
And the same goes for other people. They will not make any obligation if they will not be 100% sure that this is exactly what they will get. So in my personal opinion, VR doesn't work on this moment. What goes for the new investments, if they are like shell and core and we have a hole in the ground, yes, of course. But not for existing projects. If you can see everything, you can touch, you can see the view from the 25th floor, you can see that, check that, talk to this one and I don't know, to measure that. But what goes to for the new investments, yes, I am very optimistic because I had an opportunity to collaborate with one VR company who showed me a new investment product in Wrocław, and it looked really nice. The quality of this VR adventure was amazing. I would say game amazing, and the feeling that you could get while visiting it, it was also pretty nice.
I would have to ask you a last question, Tomasz. What's the biggest innovation that you have seen in your industry during your career? What is the biggest breakthrough that you have seen?
Whoa, big breakthrough. I would say high-tech office buildings, like Warsaw Spire, Warsaw Hub. They look like not from this world. You feel like in cosmos capsule, and the do you know the quality of those offices? How it's connected with every material is connected with each other, and it is connected as well with the user experience. Because if you can travel on 30 something floor in few seconds, this is really amazing. Because I can still remember the elevators where at the 5th floor you were driving 1 minute or more. High-tech office buildings, comparing to what was built in 2005 or 2010, it's only 10 years. And it changed a lot, really, those commercial or even shopping malls. So commercial real estate in last 10 years changed, I would say, dramatically. And I am really happy that we have those kind of high-end solutions because it shows that Poland and Polish company and Polish developers and Polish architects, they are doing amazing job. They are like hell of a specialists, and I am proud to be a Polishman, to be honest.
Great.
Yeah, we are kicking the quality of Switzerland. Finally.
I found it like the best conclusion to close this podcast.
Yes.
Tomasz, thank you very much for your time. This closed the third episode of our podcast, BIAB Talks. We have explored a lot of different topics today regarding to the commercial and office space in Poland. A lot of diversity, as we can hear, a big impact also of the pandemic on having a big reset of the market and how an office space should look like. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any thoughts about what would be your ideal office or what is the office of the future in your opinion, please share with us your thoughts. Until next time, thank you very much. Merci.